Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's a little bit weird, but yeah, what's happened to my bike? Basically, there's a whole bunch of things that I need to sort out, i.e. I want to paint or anything like that just needs to come off so I can make it look real nice and fresh. So yeah, this video is basically going to be me tearing it apart, so hopefully you enjoy it. Right, so don't worry about it, it's not entirely going to be like this. I'm just doing a very quick sort of overview just to show you that I was taking apart the bike. And as you can see, I'm putting all my bits back into together in order and moving things out of the way. It's really important that you take photos as well, step by step of it that you're doing it. And yeah, the sped up video definitely makes me look like I've got a really good work ethic. Either that or I've taken a hell of a lot of drugs and I'm going on speed or something, but yeah, in general it's a case of taking everything apart and you'll be surprised as to what you actually come across. And one of the things that I did, so as you can see I'm taking photos, one of the things that I actually did was realise how much maintenance that I'd sort of neglected. Now at the bottom here you can actually see the amount of mud, and that was just caught within the swing arm. And yeah, there's quite a fair bit that I'll go over with it as well, but just make sure you take everything off and make sure you take photos. And yeah, just make sure, like for me, I also put everything in little bags as well, so I put little labels on them with all the bolts and where they belonged. But yeah, then I literally came across all of this. Right, so I've freezing in here. I've managed to get the whole swing arm off. Now, one of the things that was amazing is just how much mud was actually caught here in the swing arm. Absolutely unreal. And then obviously if you start looking here, so the engine on the side for the sprocket cover, that's got to come off, get all that mud out of there. Absolutely horrendous. And then trying to get the actual suspension out, the rear suspension, well, that was fiddly, really fiddly. Yeah, you definitely need the right tools for this. The thing that I did mention before was the fact that the back end of the bike still sat a bit high. And the way I'm going to lower it is I'm just going to soften the suspension here. So I'm just going to raise this part here in order for that to end up sort of lowering the back end just that little bit. And hopefully it should actually set the sag for me properly. And if you don't know what sag is, it's how much when you sit on the bike, the actual back end of the bike goes down. So how much the suspension compresses just for your weight. Also, the amount of mud that's actually in the bottom of it as well probably didn't help with a lot of suspension and dampening as well. So yeah, overall gonna have to clean that up and then it should be nice and shiny and red, and yeah, should look pretty much like new. So kind of pleased that I've actually done this. The swing arm itself is now off. Obviously I've had to take all the side panels off, a whole bunch of stuff. I need to sort out that bit as well. But yeah, so as you can see at the moment everything's a little bit everywhere, but that's not bad going, especially because I've got a lot of crap out of, like, that mud is just, yeah. So if you haven't washed your bike for a bit of a while, jet washing there like you can't imagine, mega needing that. So yeah, absolute dirt trap. So just a little tip if you've got one of these, because I was really shocked about it. So as you can see, that is a lot of shit. So yeah, just remember, mud when you ride through swamps, absolutely everywhere. So that might end up giving me back a couple of my horsepower. But yeah, I don't normally let the bike get this main key, but it's really difficult to get in there. So yeah, kind of rather glad that I did. Even chain don't want to come off, there's too much mud in the way. We've got a bit of stone. Yeah, wow. Look at that. And that is definitely going to teach me for swamp riding. Absolutely going to teach me over the swamp riding. Wow, that was cake. Now the other thing I want to do, obviously, is I'm going to stick that in a big pot of lube and just clean it up, WD-40 it, make it look spiffing again. That'll be ideal really, because again it's just caked in mud. It's not in bad condition. It's actually quite a new chain, but I've ragged it through a few swamps and muddy fields, so yeah, definitely needs to get sorted really, doesn't it? Right, so right back at it again, this time starting on the front end. Obviously it's not too much to show, but it's effectively showing you how I came about it and the issues that I had. So one of them was I took the front wheel off and then I realised the whole thing was a bit heavy on the front. Did catch me off a little bit, I'm not going to lie, but luckily I thought outside the box, grabbed my motorcycle chain, thought, yeah, wrap that round, that'll do. And then I was thinking to myself, well, if I take the forks off, it's going to go back heavy, so I had a stall and I put it there. It's actually been like this for a couple of weeks because painting's taking forever, so I'm a little bit in advance with what I'm doing. And yeah, so always think ahead and try and plan ahead, or at least have things that might help you in the long run. I actually found that having to think and improv is pretty fun, but yeah. So obviously same thing again, just take everything off, take a mental note usually, and also try to take photos if you don't really know how it's all going to go back together. And yeah, I still look like I've got good work ethic, don't I? Yeah. No, just yeah, so everything obviously that I've put on before is needed to come off because everything was just a dry fitting, so just to make sure it all fits there nice and neat. And yeah, it was freezing in there, so I was kind of really wanting to have a bath because I was quite cold, but I don't think the bath was for me, to be honest. Right, I'm not going to bore you with most of it, but basically you got to clean the parts. So nice hot warm water and a whole bunch of soap. Say, it ain't going to come out good if you don't bother to clean it. So all parts are getting cleaned, and check it out, even my suspension's in there. It's looking a bit nicer than it did before. So yeah, all part of the build, right? That's important. When you're cleaning, you get every little nook and cranny, especially if you want to prep for paint. Now, as you can see here, this is quite a shiny metal anyway, so when you sand it down, it's just going to get a bit shinier. Kind of trying to take a dull onto it so that it's actually got a keyed surface. So that is effectively what you're trying to do. So you can't really see it here on the camera as such, but it's all scuffed, so it should hold really nice and tight. Then give it another rub down with a bit of alcohol wipe, and make sure that everything is off so the stuff's free. Now with the plastics, you're kind of trying to make sure you take out the shine, so make it as dull as possible. Don't go too hard with a high grit, so, well, sorry, a low grit, because a low grit is just going to basically mince meat your plastic and take out the shape. But what you're trying to do is scuff it up enough so it's nice and fine. I used a P80 and then I finished it with a 120. Ideally, you kind of want to finish it with a 400, but this bike's going to take abuse, so really I'm just wanting the colour of it. Obviously, make sure you mask up on the bearings because you do not want paint in those, and you will need to re-grease those as well when you're putting it all back together. So it might not be the most ideal weather because it is actually quite moist out in the air, but I don't particularly have much of a choice because I'm having to do this build pretty quick before I'm back at work and my holiday's over. So as you can see, that's the primer, and it's yeah, nice even coating, and then it will be prepped for the black, I guess. So as you can see, this whole thing now is basically stripped right down. There's a few things that I really wanted to paint. So for instance, the swing arm, I want that in black because the rest of the bike is black, i.e. the frame's black and the forks are black, the wheels are black. So yeah, I wanted to make that just a little bit more on point. Also, I want to do basically the triple clamps. I want them in black, a couple of other little features just to tie everything nice and neat. And I do actually want to do a bit more maintenance down underneath by the sump and the sump guard. However, I need that on there for now. Once the wheels are on, then I'll put everything all back and I'll start doing that. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll try and put up a little bit more content if I can, because I know tearing down the bike isn't exactly the most interesting thing to watch. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next episode. Till then, ride it out.